I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Brie to like musical theater. Andrew, how are you doing today?
Oh, well, you know, I'm living my best life. I just sometimes feel like that there's nothing to do, There's no way up.
Are you looking for your purpose?
I suppose you could say that. I don't know if there is one, What do you think?
I think the answer is truly in puppets and puppetry.
So instead of trying to find my purpose, I should be trying to find my puppets.
Avenue Q! Cue the thing!
Cue the music. Hit the... It's time to light the lights.
Broadway's Tony Award-winning musical Avenue Q is for you.
If you're searching for your purpose in life,
or your soulmate,
if you have a messy roommate,
or a hangover,
if your fiancé is unemployed,
or puts out the garbage,
or puts out,
if you're addicted to the internet,
or child TV stars like me, Gary Coleman.
If you work real hard and the pay's too low,
Avenue Q is for you.
Just like your life, only funnier.
Avenue Q is a musical comedy featuring puppets and human actors with music and lyrics by Robert Lopez and Jeff Marks, and a book by Jeff Whitty. The show won Best Musical, Best Book, and Best Score at the 2004 Tony Awards. The show has been praised for its approach on themes of racism, homosexuality, and internet pornography.
And we're gonna not praise it for all those same things.
You bet it, buddy. The musical premiered off-Broadway in 2003 at the Vineyard Theater, co-produced at the Vineyard Theater and the New Group. In July of that same year, the show moved to the John Golden Theater on Broadway, where it ran until 2009, playing for over 2,500 performances. It then transferred to the off-Broadway New World stages, where it played until 2019. Major productions have been staged in Las Vegas and in the West End, and the musical has been staged and toured in several countries around the world. A school-friendly script has been produced, and it's awful. The principal cast includes puppeteers and 3 human actors. The puppet characters, Princeton, Kate, Nikki, and others, are played by the unconcealed puppeteers, and the costumed human actors interact with the puppets. Andrew, what'd you think of Avenue Q?
Oh, it was, there was some funny stuff, and then there was some not funny stuff, and there was puppets. I like puppets.
About to say, we are a very pro-Muppet podcast here.
If we're in favor of anything, it's puppeteering. I mean, I was even lenient on that emo show because of the puppets. If there's puppets, we go easy on it. So, if we're critical of this show, there's a reason. And it's because they didn't do the puppets well. I mean, God, for God's sakes, they didn't even try. There's just the people are just standing there and the puppets, put them behind something. What are you doing?
I mean, I get it. What is that? Is that really what bothers you with this show?
That's my main criticism of this show. There is nothing else wrong. The main problem with this show is that the puppets are on stage, invisible with the person puppeteering them. What do you think, Jess? There's nothing else wrong with this show. That's the main thing.
Nothing else. Not the blatant racism is A-okay and
blatant
homophobia.
Racism. Jess, you really think a show that would win Best Musical, Book, and Score in 2004 could be racist and homophobic?
Maybe. Just maybe.
Okay, everyone is a little bit racist. I don't think anyone can deny that, so I feel like the show is just accurate. What's your argument against that, Jess?
The thing is, it says it's okay that you're racist. In fact, don't stop it. It's the song really should be, yeah, we're all a little bit racist, but we should acknowledge it and be like, yikes, let me try to do better.
Well, that's not funny, Jess. It show's trying to be funny. Okay.
You're just trolling me now.
It's absolutely... you can't... So the girl wants to open a school for monsters and only monsters get to go there? That is racist. What the fuck?
Avenue Q, what is it about, Andrew?
It's about a guy named Princeton who's a little shithead Okay? This guy, he's a big fucking asshole. He went to school for English. I mean, that's the type of person we're talking about right now.
My brother graduated with a BA in English.
Exactly. So, basically, this little shit fuck, he moves into Avenue Q, and he wants to figure out what to do with his life. Okay? That's the plot. There's really not much else to it.
What about Kate Monster?
Kate Monster is a racist that wants to open up a school for only monsters, where no one else is allowed to go. She's a segregationist, and that's her goal in life. The end of the show, she gets to open up her school for only monsters because that's what they like. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Princeton and Kate. Princeton and Kate date each other, and then they hate each other, and then they date each other. And that's the plot. There's a side plot where Bert and Ernie are living together, and Bert is gay and a Republican, and he won't come out as gay, but everyone knows he's gay because he's a Republican, and then he eventually comes out as gay, and no one is surprised. Ernie becomes homeless, and it's hilarious. Ha ha ha. Isn't that funny? He's homeless. And then he's not homeless at the end because he becomes gay lovers with Bert.
No, he finds his, doppelganger and makes him gay lovers with Bert.
That's true. Ernie couldn't even become gay himself. How progressive. He has to find a clone of himself that is
gay. Clone.
And then that's the whole plot. I think there's another thing with internet porn, but it really doesn't...
You forgot to mention the racist neighbors.
Oh yes, there's neighbors. One of them is a horrific Asian stereotype, and the other one is, he's only attractive to Asian stereotypes. And he thinks he's not racist because he married an Asian stereotype. Jess, we gotta talk about this, okay?
Okay,
what is in the
about it.
What is in the show, Jess, that you want to talk about so badly that you think hasn't aged well?
Let's talk very briefly about just the overall politics of this show, where it feels like very much like if you just wait, everything will pass over and the bad things in life will stop. And it is a privileged way of viewing yourself where no matter what you're gonna do, eventually it'll blow over, when a lot of times things won't blow over. Those 500, 600 kids aren't gonna get out of those cages, if we just wait for things to pass over. And our privileged way of being it's okay to be racist casually to everyone, and that's fine, and it's okay. That's fine. It's fine
this show,
kind of libertarian belief of South Park.
This show is more South Park than Book of Mormon is.
I see that. Book of Mormon is more racist, though.
Book of Mormon is more racist, but it's almost mocking itself. Whereas with this one, they're just very open with, it's cool to be racist as long as it's, to everybody, you know? As long as you're racist towards everyone, it's fine.
So you talked about the plot. The plot is really about Kate Monster and Princeton and their relationship growing. And then you have all these other vignettes that are happening around it, which are acting more or less as lessons to, Sesame Street lessons, thus the puppets.
Yeah.
So instead of, wash your hands before you eat, it is, hey, everyone's racist. Even Gary Coleman. That joke aged well.
Who's Gary Coleman? He made grills once?
That's George Foreman. Gary Coleman made grills on the Drake and Josh show, though.
Oh.
The Gary Coleman grill.
Yep.
But now he is a dead man because his wife pushed him down the stairs.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what happened.
Do they put this show on anymore?
Yes, they do. And they don't change the Gary Coleman part because a lot of people forgot he died.
Okay, Gary Coleman. That's funny. All right. Well, there's some important songs that I think you have to go over in this. I mean, you've already touched on it. Everyone's a little bit racist. I feel like we got to talk about that segment before we even go to anything, because that's the most.
I feel like that's all we've talked about, but yeah, it is. Literally, a lyric is, everyone's a little bit racist sometimes. That doesn't mean we go out committing hate crimes. Like that is the methodology of this song. Like, everyone makes pre-assumptions based on race. It's fine, it's funny, and it's hilarious. You tell black jokes, oh no, it's just fine. If you tell Polish jokes, oh, it's fine. I think that the Mexican busboy should speak goddamn English. Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah, until, like, suddenly everyone starts basing their political policies around that. And then, wait a second, this isn't good. No.
This is taking place from the point of view of, we solved racism. We won. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, well, racism, I mean, that's just like minor things. Like, oh, if you think black people can jump higher, whatever. There's definitely not anyone out there who thinks that black people have low IQ scores and commit more crimes than white people because they just can't control themselves and they're animals, right? People don't think that.
Especially not famous YouTubers.
Oh, I feel like, especially like now, this show has aged so poorly.
It hurts to watch.
So poorly.
It is uncomfortable to watch.
I think another
feels
song
unpleasant and edgelordy in the most recent way of describing edgelords, which is actual Nazis.
Yeah, I think one of the other ones that I cringed very hard at was Schadenfreude, which literally they're just using that to describe the feeling that, hey, it's really funny to mock people who are recently homeless.
I feel like they wrote the song before they had the situation.
Sure, that could be true. But in the show, the situation is this person is now homeless, and Gary Coleman, I think, is the person who's mocking. Is that right?
Yes, the character of Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman thinks it's absolutely hysterical that someone is now homeless and they are not going to help them.
Yeah, nobody helps their newly homeless friend. Nobody.
No one. And
in fact, they are seen as a blight onto society.
Yeah, a blight onto the society, and in fact, possibly helpful to the society because everyone can look at them and feel better about themselves. They can laugh.
Yeah, I mean, the only schadenfreude I get recently is just watching Trump have a temper tantrum about not winning the presidency. That feels good. But then it stops feeling good because he's going to try to get a coup.
I feel like schadenfreude, in all actuality, is supposed to refer to the misfortune of someone else, but usually someone else who, deserves misfortune.
Yeah, there's a balance in the hierarchy where it's someone higher being brought down a peg, and not someone who's lower than you getting brought even lower.
Yeah, it's like, you're not going to laugh because your poor neighbor gets evicted and is now homeless. Like, that's ridiculous. And especially right now, I mean, we're on the cusp of a eviction crisis.
Yes.
Watching this show and watching that scene was like, man, okay. Yeah, you think that's really funny, don't you?
What do you think of the character of Kate Monster, the one that you think you jokingly called racist earlier, like actively racist?
I mean, I wasn't joking. I think that having a segregated school for one particular type of person is a little bit overtly racist.
It's a slippery slope.
It's not. If you're trying to say like affirmative action or something like that, it's not an actual solution to the problem, and eventually could become the opposite of a solution to the problem. It could just be an expansion on the problem.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I brought this up before, and I kind of want your thoughts on it. So, Kate Monster, that is her quote-unquote goal. Princeton's goal is to get the vague idea of purpose. Whereas that's a very vague idea of something, whereas Kate's is very concrete. I want this thing.
Yes.
I think that the Kate Monster School for Monsters was a very late addition, brought up by someone watching the show and being like, this girl's only goal is to fuck this dude, and she's just boy crazy. Because outside of, everything else, all she wants to do is fuck Princeton. That is her goal, is to be in that relationship with him. And even so much that in the Group I Want song of It Sucks to Be Me, that's all she brings up is, I don't have a boyfriend, it sucks. So she's already on the prowl before that.
She doesn't bring up the School for Monsters thing until the Everyone's a Little Bit Racist song.
Exactly. And then it doesn't really come up again until the very end.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as a very late addition to just not have it be that her only goal is to fuck the main character, because that's obviously not what you want your secondary lead to have.
No, but it feels like this show is like a step away from being that. And the thing is, for as immature this show is, and it is very immature, let's be very clear about that. It is a very immature show.
Which is fine. That's not at all what I'm complaining about. That's not the problem.
The thing is, they handle the relationship between Princeton and Kate very maturely. Like, that is a mature, realistic relationship, and the reason it doesn't work out are normal human things of different wants and different aspirations for what they want to be right now. Like, the scene where he's like, I just want to be your friend, and she's like, I've got plenty of friends. I don't want friends right now.
Oof.
Like, that felt real, like, honest, like, actual relationships shit.
She was getting friend-zoned, and she didn't have any of it.
Exactly. So seeing that, and how maturely that and emotionally palatable that is, and then the Rod and Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, Bert and Ernie. I forget what they call it. It's Rod and
Nikki.
Nikki. Yeah, that one is... I don't think they did that very well, honestly.
Well, that's still stemming from the joke is he's gay and Republican.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Womp womp.
Closeted homosexuality is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, part of it is like everyone knows he's gay, which I think is a little bit of a bad
It's
thing.
a bad look.
'Cause, you know, that's kind of like oh, well, all gay people, it's so obvious when they're gay because they talk like this and, like, you know.
Or they read a book on musical theater. Like, that was the reason why he was quote-unquote gay.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I don't know if that's a good thing to put into your show. I don't know if I could say, if I could point to a moment where they're like, man, they really handled the gay thing poorly.
I think it's the overall, like, experience, like the shame for one. Like, he is ashamed of being gay, so he tells them all that he has a girlfriend in Canada.
Yeah, which I think, I mean, if you want to, you can pass it off as them making fun of the fact that he's a Republican, and that's why he's ashamed.
They mentioned that he's Republican once, and, like, he doesn't say any of his beliefs. Like, maybe, like, they could have done something about Christianity or something. Like, at least that would be something, but no.
They don't really tie it in at all. I think maybe it's supposed to be implied, so they're not straight up saying, like, oh, gay people don't want to come out of the closet. It's only because this guy's Republican. You know, he's ashamed. But it's not really obvious if that's what they're going for. Also, why make him a Republican? Is there an actual reason? He doesn't talk about what he believes at all. The only reason that I could find that they said he's a Republican is because it's funny that he's gay and Republican. Though he never actually says anything explicitly anti-gay either. It's not like he's some sort of, like, anti-gay activist or something. Like,
see, that would actually be some comedy, like, that you could kind of get behind nowadays. The gay, anti-gay, like, super, like fucking Westboro Baptist Church type.
Like, recently when Jesse Lee Peterson was tweeting out, like, gay porn.
That happened?
That did happen, 100%. He tweeted out, like, a video of a guy eating another guy's ass. Absolutely beautiful. Beta.
You gotta link to that. You gotta link to that for educational.
Oh, yeah, for educational. I'll put it right in the chat here for you.
Ah, thanks. Oh, that's great. Look at that. Diving in there.
Oh, he's digging in.
I'm so glad you had that at the ready, just so I could...
Well, I mean, I keep it here for research purposes, just in case it comes up.
All right, another question, because this made me uncomfortable as a human being adult.
Okay.
So Princeton gets Kate Monster super drunk and then has sex with her. That's a rape, right?
Yes, but also I don't know if that's what they're going for in the story here.
Well, the thing is, it's done by the Bad Idea Bears. Like,
that's
literally,
true.
That's their names. They're like, take her home. She's wasted. Yeah.
True.
And
Yeah,
it's
you're
fucked
right.
up.
You're right.
It made me sick to my stomach, and I hated having to sit with Princeton as a character for the rest of it. And sure, she didn't regret it the next morning, but still.
Yeah. Although, doesn't she get fired from her job because of that as well?
Yeah, because she was at a job thing the next day, and he's like, no, just get drunk with me and fuck me all night.
Yeah.
I hate it. The things that this show, I get why people like responded to it. I get why it was like such a breath of fresh air compared to the Wickeds in the world. But my God, the things that happen in the show make me sick to my stomach.
You know what I feel like they don't do at all enough? I thought going into this it was going to be set up more like a Sesame Street parody, and they just kind of don't do that.
Now, you and I are in our 20s.
Yeah.
This show should be made for us.
Well, yeah, I watched Sesame Street a bunch when I was a kid.
Not even that. Specifically what the show is trying to say about recently graduating from college.
Oh, yeah, that as well.
And not knowing what you do and your aimlessness just going around in the world.
Looking for your purpose.
Exactly. Like, the song that hits me the most, and outside of the show, because I listened to the cast album many times before seeing the show, is I Wish I Could Go Back to College. Because I kind of feel that. It was easy. It was nice having the structure of, like, things to expect, things to prepare for. And it's hard to leave that after you've done it for, 20 years of your life.
I hated college. Jess, have you found your purpose yet?
Can I tell you the story? And this is me opening up about my post-college life.
Sure.
Me and Bree graduated on the same day in the same room in May of 2018 from our college. We were diagonal seats from each other as we walked up. It was great. And then after I graduated, I went right into a full-time job, which was a lot better than a lot of people that I graduated with, and I was very blessed to have it. But I went into a real deep depression because what do you do? Basically, the voice I heard in my head every day I went to work was, don't forget, this is forever. This is your life. No matter what job you're at, this is what life is going to be like, doing this every single fucking day until you die.
Yeah.
And nothing was fulfilling about my life. Yes, technically I was doing well. I was doing fine, but I was unfulfilled. And then in September 2018, I text you, Andrew, and we start up this podcast, and it gave me something, a schedule for, something to work on, something to put my time and energy into, and my emotional value. And it made me feel a lot better, and I don't have any of those deep-seated depression feelings of post-college life ever since then. So thank you, Andrew and Bree, for giving me my purpose.
Your purpose is to talk about musicals online.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here.
What about you?
No one has a purpose, okay? Let me go on a rant here for a sec. There is no such thing as purpose. Purpose is a myth. It's made up, a fabrication. You are all fed this myth because they want you to work until you're dead. And they want you to think, man, that's my purpose. You don't have a purpose. You weren't born here for a reason, and you're going to die here for no reason. Just accept that, and the sooner you accept it, the happier you'll be.
This is our performance of No Reason from Beetlejuice, the musical.
We ain't got no reason to live.
We're all going to die someday, and it'll be great.
Your death will be the most important day of your life.
So, let's compare our opinions to those of New York theater opinions, and our favorite segment on this show. It is time for Previews. Previews.
How do you expect me to want to read something from the New York Times or from Mr. Ben Brantley when Andrew has just depressed me and he said that the most important day of my life is the day I die.
You know, the most important day of Ben Brantley's life will be the day he dies as well, so.
Holy shit.
I just don't
Jesus Christ.
I just don't understand, guys.
Look,
it went from a great night to a depressing one.
If Avenue Q has taught me anything, it's that what we're all waiting for is to rejoin the void.
Fuck me, god damn it.
All right. Well,
Maybe we should put like a warning, like, hey, if you're not feeling great, maybe don't listen to our Avenue Q episode.
Look, I think some people are waiting to hear this. They want to feel better about themselves. You're not a failure, okay? You can't fail. There is no failure. Failure is a myth.
Yes.
All right, time for Bree's views. No more slacking off here, boys. Okay.
Tell it like it is.
The New Yorker described it as an ingenious combination of The Real World and Sesame Street. And
What's The Real World?
The Real World was an old TV show where people would talk about living in a house together on a beach.
Is that what this show is like?
Not at all. I think they just wanted to mix something like modern and early 2000s and a little bit racy with Sesame Street.
Ah, yes. They could have just said it's like South Park.
But with puppets.
I mean, it kind of is, though.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's too on the nose.
And then the New York Times chief theater critic, Ben Brantley, said, in the savvy, sassy, and eminently likable Avenue Q, which opened last night at the Golden Theater, an idealistic young man stares into the audience and sings in a voice shiny with hope. Something's coming, something's good. But it is in its songs and performance that Avenue Q plays most piquantly.
Piquantly, yeah.
Piquantly.
He just made that word up.
I think he did. On the contrast between the world according to children's television and the reality of adult life. The nature of the twinkling songs, unfailingly tuneful and disgustingly irresistible.
So, Andrew, do you agree with those critic reviews?
I've never seen The Real World, so I cannot comment on that. Ben Brantley likes this show way more than I would expect him to.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure.
Let's talk about the full Tony year that this came out.
Gotcha.
So, in this year, it was up against Wicked, one of the biggest shows ever, and still like one of the biggest moneymakers on Broadway.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Taboo, which was by all means a flop, but a well-received flop.
Okay.
Caroline or Change.
That was okay.
I think that's the only great musical out of all of these.
I mean, what did Ben Brantley think of that one?
So we're gonna chat for a second about this. So the person who runs the Broadway podcast network, Dory Berenstein, she made a documentary about this entire Tony season, following all these Broadway musicals on their race to win the Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, they have this great section that I'm going to send Bree a clip sample of, where they have all the Broadway theater critics in circles talking about what they think should win and why things shouldn't win.
Okay.
And Ben Brantley called Wicked preachy, said Caroline or Change is bad, like actively bad, and they might give it best score only because they don't know what they're talking about.
Okay.
And called Wicked boring, like all these people.
Everyone called Wicked boring.
Yes, they said it was long, lugubrious, and horrible.
Fair.
Everyone hated Wicked.
Absolutely fair. I mean, I watched Wicked, and actually it was pretty good. I don't know what they were talking about.
And their concerns about Avenue Q was, this is a show for nobody that goes to Broadway. No 20-year-olds are going to Broadway.
But they all thought it was really good.
They all thought it was really good. And that baffles me because even watching this and trying to put myself in the time, it doesn't feel special to me. It's just puppets say fuck.
It really just feels like a South Park episode. I honestly feel like the South Park movie that came out around the same time would have probably been more poignant if they put that on Broadway.
Stephen Sondheim called that one of his favorite musicals of all time.
The South Park movie?
Yes.
It's really not bad, and I feel like, I don't know, this show is just, it doesn't have any good takes.
It feels hateful. It honestly feels mean.
And there's not really an actual parody of Sesame Street going on, unless you're of the mind that parody means do the thing but they say fuck, which in my opinion is not a parody. Just because you have the visuals of something and then they say mean words, that doesn't make it into a parody. Like, you can't just say like, oh, it's Scooby-Doo, but it's a parody because look at Fred says fuck. Like,
that was going to be the Scooby-Doo movie when James Gunn originally was brought on.
It's like, what if Fred said fuck? Sick. It's a parody, bro. You don't get it. It's like you're not making fun of the property at all. Like, what about this mocks Sesame Street?
I think it would have been interesting to try to start this off as like Sesame Street after the money is taken away. Like after PBS gets defunded or something and it eventually just gets run down and real life hits. Like that at least would have been an interesting take.
Yeah.
But here it's just the real world, Gary Coleman, and puppets exist.
Yeah. I would have liked to see more of like the segments that Sesame Street does, but like in a way that's like, oh, it's like a more cynical message though. They're not as optimistic about the world and whatever. But they don't really do that.
They are very cynical in their messages. They do have segments that are like very cynical, but it feels more like cyberbullying and edgelord shit.
What do you think the best moment of this show is? Like, if you were going to recommend something that describes the whole show and is the best possible representation, what would you put in?
You see, what I have is my favorite part is not a representation of the show.
Yeah.
My favorite part is the end of Act 1, and that's It's a Fine, Fine Line, where she is broken up with by Princeton, and she's just like, well, fuck, like, I gotta... it's a fine line between a good man or a friend and a lover and all that, and I gotta figure my life out while I'm still in my prime. Like, it is a legit pre-midlife crisis, and I think it's really good.
Yeah. But really, the best representation of the show is the internet is for porn.
Yes, that is technically the best representation of the show and what it could have been. But it's also a representation of the time it came out, where the internet really was just like, you go on there for 5 minutes and then you leave, instead of like, you doom scroll all night on your phone that goes with you everywhere. It was like a thing you do in your house.
The internet is for porn, though. I mean, that is actually accurate. That's why that song is funny. That song is funny because, yes, everyone does just use the internet for porn. Even now.
Yeah, but I feel like, I find it strange that Kate Monster takes a very anti-porn stance.
No, she's just taking the, I don't want to know that my friends are looking at porn all the time stance.
Well, she literally says, I hate porn. Like, those are words that came out of her mouth.
Okay, well, I mean, we already know she's a racist, so is it really that surprising that she's anti-sex?
Brianna, do you find most women like have a anti-relationship with porn? Like I felt that was like a stereotype, like in the early aughts, like girls just don't like porn, they hate porn, and now I feel like that's like being erased and being like reconsidered.
Yes, I do think that that's like stereotype or taboo is kind of going away.
Do you watch porn, Brie?
Yeah,
it's great, right?
Yeah, and I think really any woman I've really talked to or kind of knew on a personal level like that probably also did. I think like maybe it comes in later than life. Like most young men, you know, are looking at porn at a much younger age than young women. But now it's so accessible, and it's on platforms like Twitter that I think like women and girls that are younger and younger are seeing it as well.
Well, I think a lot of young women got it fed in them that it is anti-woman. And now with things like OnlyFans, it is women taking their sexuality and their bodies and using it.
I think there's an argument to be made that there are forms of pornography that are exploitative explicitly. Although I don't think that that's all. And I don't think it's a good idea to be anti-pornography simply because there are some forms that have been corrupted by like, you know, big industry interests.
I mean, yes. And speaking as the person on here that probably doesn't do porn, like, enjoys porn the least by the status we've set up on this show previously, I don't always understand it, but I do kind of love the empowerment embracing of pornography I'm seeing from young women as of late, which is pretty cool. And men, of course, like...
And, you know, you can't exploit anime girls, so that's always okay.
No. That's bad.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anime girls are drawings, Jess.
Nope. I see the slippery slope you're taking this down. I see the evil in your eyes right now.
Where do you think I'm going to go with this, Jess? Anime girls, it's fine. All right. We gotta go to a halftime here so we can talk about the songs.
Didn't a fucking YouTuber just come out and be like, drawing underage girls is fine in anime because, it's just a drawing.
It's just a drawing.
And I'm like, people are fucking disgusting. Like I have a line.
Bro, if it's okay to draw pictures of dogs and furries, then anything's okay.
But what about monsters?
Monsters? Okay.
But as long as they're not all in one school.
As long as they don't all go to the same school.
Monster porn.
If you open up a school for monsters, if you open up a school only for monsters and it's popular, like, what's going to happen there, Like, you're just going to get more schools for monsters. You're segregating yourself. You're making a problem.
All right, let's go into a mid-show announcement. Let's listen to some advertising.
Advertise to me, Daddy.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you.
Oh man, we're doing it today.
Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Now on Patreon, we've got tons of stuff. We've got commentaries. We've got our own podcast about the Muppets, the entire series of Frosty Vertin. We've got the Glee commentaries on there. We got so much cool shit. And we got even more stuff coming. In October, we had a whole bunch of shit uploaded. I'm curious how people liked it. As well, we have our monthly meetups. We had a lot of fun this time. It was a really good experience. So if you're not on Patreon, you're missing the fuck out. Mm-hmm. Andrew, who's on Patreon?
Oh man, did you guys hear they legalized hard drugs in Oregon? Isn't that sick? All right.
What the fuck?
Our patrons are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Max Lunig, Lily Ackles, Peasant Chick, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Tess Skier, Fire of September, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maniri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Alice in Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Irigale Drouet Whiter, Christine Malmedel, Cole Birchfield, Mary Lou Choquette, Jean Vanals, Holy Sticality, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Andrew Van Marson, Emily Stack, Tablam, Kyle Summers, Janae C., Kyle, Christina Francis, Jess A., Skylar, Liz Lim, Corey Wilmarth, Allison Stuller, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Elizabeth, Thespian, Ren Cullen, Wait in the Wings, Lady Malvolia, Spectacle Machine, Jacob Stroop, Raphael Martinez, Salas, J. Asterix, Robert Benjamin, and Rochelle.
They give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you'd like to join them in supporting us and get tons of fun perks such as Patreon-only commentaries, our episodes a day early or even earlier, come join us over at Patreon. Also, we've got merch. You can find that on the merch store. Also, this is a brand new announcement. If you go to our website, you can find a new section where you can find all the transcripts for our episodes. The transcriptions are provided by Masha Litvinova. She is wonderful, and we are so glad to have her on the team.
What do you do with a BA in English?
What do you do with the BA in English? What is my life going to be? 4 years of college and plenty of knowledge have earned me this useless degree. I can't pay the bills yet, 'cause I have no skills yet. The world is a big scary place, but somehow I can't shake the feeling I might make a difference to the human race.
So Princeton is singing about how useless his degree is. And honestly, what are you going to do with a BA in English?
Why do you even get an English degree? I'm sure we're going to have like 5. Like, I majored in English and I am a very successful novelist.
You know, that's excellent and good for you. And I don't have anything else to say. I'm really proud of you. Great job.
You did better than any of us, I will say that.
You honestly, honestly proud of you. Keep up the good work. Always go to school for what you want and not for what anyone else tells you to do.
My favorite line in this, and it's such a short song. It's like three lines, really. But literally, it's like, I can't pay the bills yet because I have acquired no skills yet.
It's true. College is worthless except for to make people hire you.
A little bit. And basically, if you acquire a skill and you can prove that you can do it, you don't really need a college degree.
Yeah, the problem is no one will even allow you to prove that you can do the skill unless you have a college degree, so...
Yeah, and unless, once again, how to succeed in business without really trying, you just rely on recommendations and failing upward to the top.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's two ways to succeed. Nepotism and, I'm sure there's a second one.
Nepotism and ass kissing. All right. It sucks to be me. Which is more or less an opening number and a Group I Want song, except done much worse than in the band's Visit.
Whose life sucks more, Brian's or mine?
Ours! We live together.
We're close as people can get.
We've been the best of buddies
Ever since the day we met.
So he knows lots of ways to make me really upset. Whoa, every day is an aggravation.
Come on, that's an exaggeration.
You leave your clothes out. You put your feet on my chair.
Oh yeah? You do such anal things like ironing your underwear.
You make that very small apartment we share a hell.
So do you. That's why I'm in hell too.
It sucks to be me.
No, it sucks to be me.
It sucks to be me.
It sucks to be me.
Is there anybody here it doesn't suck to be? It sucks to be me.
Yeah, they all come out and they tell you why it sucks to be them. And honestly, stop complaining. What the fuck?
Yeah, Trump's not even in office yet.
Yeah, and also, there's too many characters in this song. Like, do we really need to know why it sucks to be Christmas Eve or Gary Coleman?
I mean, the Gary Coleman is kind of the punchline to this entire song.
I guess. Is Gary Coleman the landlord?
Yes.
What a dick.
He's dead in real life.
He got pushed down the stairs. No! Actually, though, like, don't make fun of Gary Coleman.
Yeah, Gary Coleman is like an easy target even back then. Like, that's punching down a little bit.
They thought it was funny. They're like, what would be funny to name our character? And someone would just blurt it out, Gary Coleman. And then that's what they went with.
Tim Allen would be the funnier character now.
Tim Allen is the funniest name you could ever have. All right.
It's two first names. Hold on, I'm not done talking about this.
Oh, okay. What else you got?
I want to bring up something to support my hypothesis that the Cape Monster School was a late addition. Because if this is supposed to be the I Want song for what these characters genuinely want,
why didn't she bring it up?
Well, she does bring up what the songwriters probably thought she wanted, and then were late minute adding later, which was, fuck, I want a boyfriend. It sucks to be me because I don't have a boyfriend.
I don't have my BF.
So that is peppering in my theory that the Monster School thing was added very late in the game to try to give Kate Monster more agency in her own story.
Yeah.
Because it does just feel shoehorned.
It's also brought in the worst possible time because it's brought in the song Everyone's a Little Bit Racist, basically as an example of how she's racist.
Yep. Which we're talking about now. Everyone's a little bit racist.
You're a little bit racist. Well, you're a little bit too.
We're all a little bit racist.
I think that I would have to agree with you. We're glad you do. It's sad but true. Everyone's a little bit racist. All right. Bigotry has never been exclusively white. If we all could just admit that we are racist a little bit, even though we all know that it's wrong, maybe it would help us get along.
Oh, Christ, do I feel good.
Now there was a fine, upstanding black man.
Who?
Jesus Christ. But Gary, Jesus was white. No, Jesus was black. No, Jesus was white. No, I'm pretty sure Jesus was black.
Guys! Jesus was Jewish.
Okay. Kate is racist. Princeton is racist. Brian is racist. Christmas Eve is racist.
Gary Coleman is racist.
Gary Coleman is racist.
We don't know in real life, but probably, because everyone's a little bit.
They all, I don't know. We've talked enough about this song.
They revel in it. They revel in their racism.
We've talked enough about this song, but the point is, the song takes racism and turns it into something that is to be viewed as mundane and mostly harmless.
Yeah,
and
banal. It doesn't matter.
That's not really how you should view racism. Even like mild racism should be seen as something that you're working to correct. You know, like.
Which is why I kind of like that we've changed our language as a human race. Like, things that are like a little bit racist are now called microaggressions, which I think is a good way to phrase it, in a way that it's something that you correct.
Yeah.
And try to limit in your own, like, preconceptions.
So basically what we're saying is, I'm going to cancel the fuck out of Princeton and Kate, and I'm going on Twitter to ban them.
Hashtag puppet hatred.
Hashtag canceled. No. On the real, though, I feel like they wanted to do something that was, like, just kind of tongue-in-cheek, a little bit funny, but I think the direction... The way that, like, white supremacy has kind of come back pretty heavily throughout the world. I'm not even just talking about the United States. Like, there is, like, white supremacist parties in a lot of countries now that are all making waves in a way that they were not doing back in 2004. I think people got a little bit complacent. They got a little too used to, like, hey, racism is kind of, like, irrelevant now. It's not.
Yeah, and this show, I honestly don't think this show should be really put on anymore, in the same way that it is structurally sound. It is a structurally effective musical with all the beats that make sense. It is a show that on its, like, skeletal remains is good. It's the content inside of it that makes me sick, the same way as How to Succeed in Business and Carousel.
Oh, right. The internet is for porn.
I'm glad we have this new technology.
For porn.
Which gives us untold opportunity.
For porn. Oh, sorry.
From your own desktop. You can research, browse, and shop. Until you've had enough and you're ready to stop.
For porn.
Trekkie.
The internet is for porn. The internet is for porn.
Trekkie.
Me up all night hugging me horn to porn.
That's gross. You're a pervert.
Sticks and stones, Kate Monster.
No, really. You're a pervert. Normal people don't sit at home and look at porn on the internet.
Oh?
What?
You have no idea. Ready, normal people?
Ready!
Ready!
Let me hear it!
The internet is for porn. Sorry, Kate. The internet is for porn. I masturbate.
All these guys unzip their flies for porn.
The internet is not for porn. Hold on a second.
You like this song.
I think it's funny. There's not really any content to it. I think the Trekkie monster is kind of a humorous character.
That's the only one that feels Sesame Streety to me. Like, he feels like properly Cookie Monster-esque.
Yeah, he's a Cookie Monster. It's funny. He's funny. This song is pointless, but
It becomes very important later.
But it does have it has good humor to it. This is honestly the only song that I kind of laughed even like a little bit at, because there's just a lot in the rest that's not that funny.
What, you don't find it if you were gay hilarious?
Not particularly. I mean, I feel like I've seen that joke done a lot, you know, like where it's just kind of lampshading that, hey, I know you're gay, but you won't come out. I feel like I've seen that before. I don't know. I feel like Book of Mormon did it better, honestly.
Yeah, because there was more to that character aside from the fact he was gay. Like, you understand why he was closeted.
Mm-hmm.
And this, he's just closeted because he's closeted and Republican.
Yeah, also in Book of Mormon when they did it, it's not like a character in the show. telling you that, like, hey, this character is gay and I know about it, but, like, he's not going to come out. In that, it's more like the audience knows because of the clues in the song. But,
well,
like,
he also says that he has gay thoughts actively, the character.
Yeah, but it's not, like, it's not the same setup, but so it makes it a little bit funnier.
Yeah. Like, I think the actual funny line is, being gay is wrong, but lying is worse, so you gotta put your gayness in a box and crush it.
Yeah.
Like, at least that's a joke on, like, Mormon doctrines and propaganda within them. Like, that has more jokes aside from, gays.
Isn't it funny that some people are gay and they won't admit it?
It's
but
hilarious.
We know.
Yeah, we know they're gay. Which is also some bullshit. Like, so many people tried to tell me I was gay before I don't even know what the fuck I am.
Sick. All right, what are the songs?
I want to talk about It's a Fine, Fine Line.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one. I actually like this song.
There's a fine, fine line between a fairy tale and a lie. And there's a fine, fine line between your wonderful and goodbye. I guess if someone doesn't love you back, it isn't such a crime. But there's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of your time. And I don't have the time to waste on you anymore. I don't think that you even know what you're looking for. For my own sanity, I've gotta close the door and walk away. There's a fine, fine line between together and not. And there's a fine, fine line between what you wanted and what you got.
Yeah, this is the one sincere song in this show where it's like, there's not a joke in it. Not a single one.
Yeah. There's
And
no bad idea bears around. There's nothing.
There's no date rape. There's not a character named Lucy the Slut.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even mention that. My God.
We don't need to. we mentioned all we need to. But there's a fine, fine line. Came from Robert Lopez when he was not sure what he wanted to do with his now wife, Kristen Anderson Lopez. And she's like, well, there's a fine line before that you have to cross and decide what you want. And he literally just stole that and wrote a song about it.
Yeah, and this is
it's
one
gorgeous.
of the better songs, yeah.
Like, I get emotional listening to it, and it's one of those reasons why the actual emotional spine of the show kind of works, but all the funny vignette-y shit doesn't.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Did you cry? Like if you cry every time.
Like if you cry ever, Tim. Yeah, I don't even know if there's anything worth mentioning in Act 2.
I want to talk about one thing in Act 2, very briefly. The More You Love Someone, a song so racist that they have to put the fucking the fucking Asian accent in the title.
The more you love someone, the more you want to cure them. The more you love someone, the more he make you cry. Though you want life for making peace with them and loving. That's why you love so strong, you like to make him die. The more you love someone, the more he make you crazy. The more you love someone, the more you wishing him dead. Sometime you look at him and only see fat and lazy, and wanting baseball bat for hitting him on his head.
I forgot about this, and we didn't like talk explicitly about the Asian character. Whoops. But my God, why did they do this?
I mean,
this is like
actress,
legitimately like I don't know. That's not her real accent, is it?
No, do you remember her? Like, she's been in another thing that we've covered, and we brought her character up specifically.
I feel like I recognize her, but I don't quite remember what it was.
She was the angel that can have boyfriends from No One Called.
No, she was better in that, though.
Yeah, and she's really good in anything that is an Avenue Q, but this is where she got her start, and she's very quick to defend her role there. She's like, I don't see it as racially insensitive, and also it is a time capsule. Like, she's very quick to defend her performance and the choices made by the creatives.
And people can make stuff in their head to justify things, but come on.
It's our job to critique the media that we watch. It's not our job to judge the people in the media.
Yeah, like, no, this is a very blatant stereotype. And if someone was watching this and they're racist against Asians and they watch this and they're like, yep, that is kind of what they're like, you know?
Yeah, they're just mail order brides for fat, ugly white men.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, you know, that's... And she doesn't really have much of a character.
No. Aside from the fact that she's racist against everyone?
Yeah, I guess her thing is that not only is she a blatant Asian stereotype, but she's also incredibly racist.
And a shrew and a nagging wife, and she's not supportive of her husband and all that. Like, bullshit
you would almost,
man crap.
If you wanted to be, like, bad faith, you could very easily say that the people writing this hated Asian people.
I don't think that.
I don't think that either. But I think that the interpretation is not that difficult to come to.
No, but it also gives permission to the audience in a way to kind of, you know...
Fill in the blanks.
But let's say this. The composer, Robert Lopez, is of Filipino descent, so he is an Asian person.
Okay, yeah, but you don't get a pass. I'm sorry, you don't get a pass. You know, this isn't Fox News where you can go on there and be like, I'm a black Republican, therefore... nothing the Republicans do is racist because I exist,
yes.
You know?
But I'm not saying it as a defense of the show, but I am saying it as a defense of 2003 Broadway producers. That's like, oh, that's fine. He's an Asian man. If he can say this shit.
Yeah. And yeah. It's a product of its time. This is why edgy humor doesn't age.
No, it does not age well.
Edgy type humor is funny for like a year. And then you look back on it and you're like, oh.
Cringe.
I don't know. I can't even go back and watch older episodes of South Park or anything.
Shit, like, I can't even go back and listen to older episodes of this show.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had a fucking character named AIDS?
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
That would come in and be like, I'm AIDS, coming to destroy. We did that.
Yeah.
That was our second episode. No, that was our first episode.
I'm going to stand up for us and we're going to say, that was hilarious. And when we do it, it's funny.
No. We have to address that we kind of... that's edgy humor that hasn't aged great.
No, I'm not backing down. It was hilarious. It was hilarious and it's always going to be funny.
No, it isn't. And that's okay. It's okay that it wasn't funny. We learn, we do better. That's the point of all this shit. And the fact that we can point out in ourselves that we aren't always perfect and yet still critique things. That's the reason why we get the right to kind of talk about this stuff, Andrew.
Yep. The more you love someone.
I don't see anyone singing this at a cabaret. Let's say that.
Yeah. Cabarets are more about Nazis, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Nazis, I wish I could go back to college.
I don't.
I wish I could go back to college. In college, you know who you are. You sit in the quad and think, oh my god, I am totally gonna go far. How do I go back to college? I don't know who I am anymore. I wanna go back to my room and find a message and dry erase pen on the door. I could just drop a class,
or get into a play,
or change my major,
or fuck my TA. I need an academic advisor to point the way. We could be sitting in the computer lab, 4 a.m. before the final paper is due, cursing the world cause I didn't start sooner, and seeing the
I know a lot of people will disagree with this, but I kind of came out of my shell and became a human being when I was in college, and a lot of people like knew who they were pretty well before that. But having the freedom to figure my shit out and not have to like worry about grades or everything else, that was great, and I loved it.
But you do have to worry about grades in college.
You don't, though.
You can fail out of college.
You can, but you don't have to get straight A's to get into another college, is kind of what I'm trying to say. Your GPA matters so much less when you're in college.
True.
So I could be like, fuck it, a B, whatever. I'm in college. So I kind of get nostalgic for that time more than any other time in my life, and just hearing like this song and like all about like the way that it kind of worked. Yeah, that sounds real nice. But in the end, I'm friends with people currently at my college, and they look like itty bitty children. So the overall message of this, which is, yeah, these kids are so much younger than me, still tracks.
All right.
One last song, and then we'll wrap this on up.
And what's the last one?
For now.
For now. This is the big finale.
For now we're healthy.
For now we're employed.
For now we're happy.
If not overjoyed.
And we'll accept the things we cannot avoid for now. For now. For now. For now. But only for now. For now. Only for now. For now. Only for now. For now. Only for now. Only for now. For now there's life. Only for now. For now there's love. Only for now. For now there's work. For now there's happiness. But only for now. For now discomfort. Only for now. For now there's friendship. Only for now. Only for now. Only for now. Sex is only for now. Your hair is only for now. George Bush is only for now. Don't stress, relax, let life roll off your backs. Except for death and paying taxes, everything in life is only for now.
Each time you smile,
It'll only last a while.
Life may be scary,
Only for now.
but it's only temporary. Everything in life is only for now.
Yes. And
What did we learn, Jess?
the message is, fuck it. Don't give a shit. Who cares? Anything bad that's happening will only be, it'll go away in a bit. Right? Right?
Yeah. Bad things are temporary. Good things are forever.
No, that's not true. Look at what we're fucking dealing with. I don't even know if the person that got elected president is gonna be president because of a maybe coup that's gonna happen. Who knows?
Look, this is, you know, they want to get political about it. I mean, this is back when the whole end of history thing was being pushed pretty hard. Like there's like, this is the end. Nothing will ever change. We've reached the end of the line. You know,
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. We've achieved neoliberalism. Congratulations, everyone. We're done. And then now here we are. 16 years later, and there's fascist
Nazis.
revolutions
Nazis.
going on. And then we start to realize that, hey, wait a second.
Maybe complacency wasn't the best option.
Maybe things do happen. Maybe our democracy is not secure. Maybe we need to change. Maybe we can't just focus on what everyone's individual purpose is, and maybe we need to focus on where do we go as a society. In this show is a time capsule of when the only thing that mattered was what you do with a BA in English.
You know what? I think we should call it there. That's a good summation. Andrew, what is your overall thoughts on Avenue Q and your cheese rating?
I actually like some of the songs, and I think the music is all really well written. But holy shit, when you're watching everyone's a little bit racist, or Schadenfreude, or some of the stuff with like Lucy the slut character who we didn't even mention, or Rod the gay Republican. I mean, my goodness, it's hard to laugh. It's hard to really get in the mood for the yucks. So I don't think I can recommend it, but most of you have probably already seen this, because I feel like this was a pretty popular one when most of our fans were probably getting into this stuff. So I don't know. Let us know what you think, honestly. I feel like this might be a controversial take by us. I'm not sure, though.
It's like Dear Evan Hansen all over again.
Yeah, so, you know...
I feel like people are going to get the general mood that this was a pretty downer episode for, like, everyone involved. Like, look, this is a very antagonistic episode.
We're recording this the week of the election and everything. Like, it's only been 1 week. Donald Trump is currently on Twitter constantly posting that he is going to
steal the
election. He's fired everyone in his White House staff or whatever because he wants to implement people more open to a full-out coup. We're on the precipice of losing even the appearance of democracy. We're going to lose that, and this show is in here laughing about internet porn and whether or not it's okay for everyone to be racist. And I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood. I don't know.
But it's only for now. Fascism is only for now. White privilege is only for now. White supremacist is only for now.
Yeah. Guys, we're not South Park anymore. We can't live in South Park anymore. I'm sorry. We have to move on. But hey, it's not a terrible show. There's some good stuff, so...
You know what I equate this to? This is the Bush-era musical in the same way that Hamilton is the Obama-era musical.
Okay, you didn't bring this up when we talked about Hamilton, so I'm interested.
Hamilton feels like a very, we're all great, we love America, so let's look back on it. Like let's look back fondly on like how it all came together and how it started. Like, where right now we're all kind of like, fuck this country and everything it stands for and all those old racist fucks, I hate it. Where we're much more like critical of American policy and all that and governments at large. Whereas back then, neoliberalists were like, oh, Obama's doing great. Like, whatever, Obama saved everything and ended racism, ended hatred. And now we're much more antagonistic and everyone's fighting for their lives. And Broadway theater shows that. Whereas this musical represents complacency in the post 9/11 pre-Iraq war time.
Yeah. Which, honestly, that kind of makes the everyone's a little bit racist thing even worse now that I'm thinking about it. Because people were very racist against Muslims after 9/11.
Islamophobia was huge.
Yeah. And I feel like not acknowledging that in the heart of New York of all places too, like, my goodness.
Yeah, it makes you sick. Even Wicked was more critical of our current government scheme than at the time than fucking Avenue Q.
Isn't it weird that whenever you have a show like South Park or like this that's like explicitly edgy humor, it's never critical of the status
quo.
You would think these edgelords would always want to like cut the status quo as hard as they can, but they never do. They always go after like anything.
It's like Forrest Gump. All right. Emily made this comparison, and now I'm making a comparison myself.
Okay.
Forrest Gump is a movie basically like fighting against people that fight the status quo in the representation of Jenny. Everything she tries to do. She tries to join the Black Panthers and try to help them out. She tried to be a freedom fighter. She tried to be a hippie fighting against the Vietnam War. And for every single one of those, she gets beaten, she gets addicted to drugs, and basically dies of AIDS as punishment for all of her aggressions against the status quo. Where Forrest Gump does exactly what he's told. Every single day, he is just doing what he's told, doing what he is following the status quo, and he gets rewarded every time because he doesn't make waves. And he doesn't have any beliefs to stand up for. He just does what he's told.
My goodness, I've never seen Forrest Gump, and you just made me not want to see it so much. I really now I know I do not want to watch this movie.
It is a love letter to conservatism.
I think people have fallen for the conservative lie that Hollywood and like Broadway and like all of these things are like these liberal, like leftist hive minds. I don't think that's true at all. I honestly think that conservatives, if anything, have way more media in this country than anyone else.
I agree.
Every action movie, a lot of mainstream Broadway, like a lot of these things they just follow the conservative status quo. And nobody talks about it because
no one wants change. They want normalcy.
Yeah. Conservatives have tricked everyone into thinking that, like, oh, Hollywood, that's where all the liberal elite live.
Makes me sick. What's your cheese rating, Andrew?
I'm going to give this Asiago.
Why?
I don't fucking know.
Juliet, give him a thumbs down emoji and insult him.
Thanks.
Bree, how would you rate our discussion?
Depressing and chaotic. My God, boys.
Good luck editing this.
I know.
Try to add a laugh.
I'm a little drunk. I'm a little bit drunk.
You had one drink.
He's a lightweight. He's a baby.
I am definitely a lightweight.
That's okay, me too.
Nobody knows this, but I'm actually 4'6". So.
I can't wait till all three of us are in a room together, and then I'll just tower over you midgets.
I'm 5'5". How tall are you, Jess?
I'm 5'11".
Really? We've been in the same room together. I don't remember you being 5'11". I think he's lying.
He's lying.
He's lying.
You can see it on his face. He's 4'8".
Bree, look at the photos of us together.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at them, but I don't believe it.
All right, Jess. What about you?
I need Bree's cheese rating.
Oh, she didn't give a cheese. Give a cheese.
I'm gonna give it Daya, and Daya is a vegan cheese, and it's because I wasn't expecting to have this conversation tonight, and I've never.
But I want to quit, you guys.
But I want to Daya.
but I want to Daya. You know, that's way better. I'm so tired. Yes,
so
I want to
sorry.
Daya.
All right, I like Avenue Q, I guess. It's fine. It pisses me off. I don't think it's aged great, but It's a Fine Line is a great song.
Look, Jess, we're just triggered lip cucks. They
Yeah,
did
we
it.
are.
They won.
They did
Avenue Q did it to us. They won.
But I am giving this Quark cheese because it starts with a Q and it's Avenue Q.
Sick. More like Avenue QAnon, am I right?
Do you know who's not a part of QAnon? Our wonderful patrons. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, at Musicals with Cheese. Our Twitter is at Cheesy Musicals. Our Patreon is Musicals with Cheese. Our Instagram and YouTube page are also Musicals with Cheese. Our patron-only podcast, Patreon with Cheese, is live now on our Patreon. $5 and up, you can get that. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our transcriptions are by Masha Litvinova. She is wonderful, and one day I will not trip over her last name. Our title card was created by Jolene Casco. Follow her on Instagram at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. She writes down all our cheese ratings, so I don't have to. This show is produced by the wonderful, the great, I love her so much, Brianna Jones! So much love to you, Bri. We are so grateful to you. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on our platform, even though we depress the fuck out of everyone!
Sick. Who are you talking about? Nobody else on the network watches our show.
Honestly, I think we're in our own little bubble where no one gives a shit what we do.
I like it that way. I think it's good.
We are so insanely different from everyone else on the Broadway Podcast Network. And I'm like, just leave those idiots alone.
We're self-sufficient as it is.
Yeah, like, they don't need to babysit us.
Yeah, we're big boys.
And girl.
All
right, Andrew, is there anything else you have left to say before we call it a night?
Sick.
It sucks to be me.
It sucks to be
me. It sucka. It sucks to be me.
Bunch of complainers.
I can't wait for the comments. You guys, Avenue Q is my favorite musical of all time, and you guys just don't understand the complexity that is Princeton. He is the most complex character on Broadway. Like, truly the most complex character on Broadway. Best character ever. 10 out of 10. I love him so much.
Princeton is a real cutie. I would date 10 out of 10.
Princeton eventually became Ben Shapiro.
Princeton's Ben Shapiro now?
Yeah, Ben Shapiro started as Princeton with a BA in English, and now he's Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro went to school for music. He's more similar to me than anyone else.
That's why you do such a good impression. All right.
I am Ben Shapiro in an alternate universe.
If Ben Shapiro had followed the light side of the force, it would be Andrew DeWolf.
I feel like we should change it from Bree's views to Ben's views, and I'll just read everything as Ben Shapiro.
You'll read everything as Ben Brantley, Ben Shapiro. Ben Brantley, Shapiro. All right, we'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. Man, it really does suck to be me.